fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today we are taking a look at something pretty cool. It is the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron ATTE in the 104th or Wolfpack Battalion Deco. This is as seen in Season 3 of the Clone Wars in the Padawan Lost Ark at the end of the season, and it is one of 3,000 made. It comes from the Jazwares vault, retailed for $80, qualified for free shipping, so for me it was like 86 bucks after tax. Is it worth it? I don't know. Probably not. We'll talk about that, but I think objectively the thing itself is cool, and this is my first time really messing with a Vault Edition large deluxe item, so I am excited for that. Let's go ahead, take an in-depth look at the packaging, really look at what we're getting here. You are getting a more quality experience packaging-wise than you would just grabbing one off the shelf, so let's get into that. And here's the box under the overhead angle. We'll take a nice look at this beautiful image of the walker walking through the forests of Felucia, the planet that arc began on. Of course, Ahsoka went her own way pretty quick. You have a nice large image of it with your Star Wars logo, the Clone Wars, your Jazwares Vault 1 of 3,000 sticker there. 7 pieces, ages 8 and up. The Jazwares ATTE 104th Battalion in the nice silver foil. Number LE0013, I'm guessing limited edition. Up top, you have your Micro Galaxy Squadron logo, your Star Wars logo, and of course the image kind of wraps to the top. This side of the box features your logos once more. This side features your logos again once more. Around back, you have your blueprint that you can cut out if you do. If you do, you're probably the only person that does that. You have your Star Wars logo again. Some anime writing, I don't know how to read. ATTE 104th Battalion Dreadnought class, DisneyStarWars.com, and Micro Galaxy Squadron logo. You have a hologram of the vehicle, a bunch of images implying what it contains, and it says holds up to 11 figures. That is where we're going to have some gripes. But underneath there, you have your Micro Galaxy, your Disney, your StarWars.com once more. And then it's actually a slipcover box, so we'll take that aside. That's kind of nice, because if you like the art, you can like hang on to the art. If you're not like an in-box guy, you still have a way to keep that flat. But top of the box, large window, lets you look in, and there's some tapes you can cut that looks like it'll let the top open up. Star Wars embossed on the window. You see Plo Koon and your 3 Wolfpack Phase 2 troopers, Micro Galaxy Squadron ATTE 104th Battalion, again, all in the silver foil. Another sticker saying it's a 1 of 3,000 Vault Edition. Underneath that, you have some legal stuff telling you it's not for little kids. They'll put it in their mouth, whatever. Don't put your toys in your mouth. Barcode, item number, more info about getting support from Jazwares. Around back, you have a nice little image of the backdrop of Felucia there. No walker this time, but that is still really, really cool. So, let's go ahead and open this up, take a look at what all we are getting in the box. So here's the Wolfpack 104th ATTE out of the box. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at this awesome thing. I gotta say, it looks beautiful. As far as the deco goes, it's amazing. Sculpt-wise, I knew that would be good. I have the original release, and I like the original release one, but definitely this one has a little bit of a nicer wash. It's not as heavy on the panel lining. There's no big, dark, random black splotch blast effects on it, which are a nice touch sometimes, but they're a little heavy-handed also. This one looks a little bit more natural, has a nicer deco to it, just overall initial first glance. I do like how it looks a lot better. So, starting off, it comes with an accessory vehicle being a blue, Wolfpack blue bark speeder with sidecar, and if you look, wow, it's taken a hit to the side, apparently. Yeah, this thing is pretty rough. It is so tight in the box that it's got, pressure on both ends and is squeezed in there. I'm going to run it under some warm water to straighten it up truly, but yeah, that definitely is not ideal. So these are same, this is a repaint of one that you can get in the $5 blind boxes that come with the figure, But let's go ahead and start loading this thing up as we go through it. So I'm going to set that aside, and we'll start talking about some figures. It comes with Jedi Master Plo Koon, who looks quite excellent. I believe this is his first time being available outside of his Starfighter, which was a chase in Series 3, or was it a rare? Basically one of those not common ones. But, yeah, it's one that I never actually saw. If you're watching, HTR's friend Mark, as in my friend Mark, actually found it at our local Walmart and then bought it for himself instead of giving it to me because he sucks. Love you, Mark. But glad he got it. It's one that I would like to get at some point. And honestly, this would have probably been a cool thing to pack it with if they wanted to reissue it with some battle damage, so it's a little bit different, but I digress. He looks really nice, has some excellent painting. The implication of Wolfpack symbols on his gauntlets, they definitely spend a little bit more time and attention on the figures on these large, deluxe, expensive sets, and it definitely shows here. Of course, the articulation is the standard. Both arms are pinned together, they swing forward. Both legs are pinned together, they swing forward. Is meant to put him in a seated position, grabbing some controls. I guess we'll have him leading the charge. We'll put Plo Koon on the Bark Speeder. And then we get 3 Wolfpack troopers. These guys are in their Phase 2 look, and they look very nice. Again, the implication of the Wolfpack symbol on their foreheads, it would be hard to do it super detailed, but it's very nice looking. They have a lot of nice paint. They have the other Wolfpack crest on the shoulder pad. Looks super duper good. On these deluxe sets, they like to do like the black in the elbows and in the back of the knees, and it looks very, very clean. Again, same articulation as Plo Koon, basically just for seating and grabbing controls. We'll put this one in the sidecar here and set that aside. We've got that portion of the set filled up. Taking a look at the ATTE, this thing is superb. It has dark and light blue areas. The implications of an open mouth in the front look super nice. Very well decoed. I love it. And this side features a graphic of a alien-like turtle with a cannon, which, yeah, I suppose there is a little bit of a resemblance there. The turret up top, you turn it just a little out of the way, and you can actually hinge open the front control compartment, and you'll have 2 seats in there that look very nice. They're painted very well, and even some of the buttons on the controls are painted. That's one of the things that they do on these vault issues, is they go nuts on the paint. Those details are there on the standard one. They're sculpted in, and they're sculpted in nicely, but they are not painted in like so. So let's go ahead and take our other 2 Wolfpack troopers. Not sure why normal troopers would be piloting a walker instead of pilots, but we'll put them in anyway. There we go. Nice and secure. Close up the hatch. Let's take a closer look at this turret. It's in a nice gunmetal gray with some lighter gray at the end of the barrel. Nice little wash on it. I love all the chipping going on in the paint. It's definitely been through some scuffs. You've got a black seat in there. No paint on that control panel, but it's okay. Not super invested in that. And it swivels, of course, side to side, and the barrel raises up and down. Let's go ahead and put a guy in that. Darn it, I'm out of figures. Yep, out of figures this early. I gotta say, that is a gripe that I have with this set. This set comes with 4 figures for $80, which is just absurd. And I get that a lot of that price is paint and decoing in the extra, buttons on the controls and stuff. I totally get that. However, just comparative to the standard release one, which is $45. Again, a pretty penny there. You get a Captain Rex figure. You actually get a pilot for the thing, and then you get 1, tipped over, 2, and 3 Phase 1 clone troopers? What? Half the money? More figures? What's going on there? It's a comparison that needs to be made. I'm not saying that this isn't worth the money, but we're going to start counting empty seats going forward. So, spinning the rest of the vehicle around, it just looks super nice. This always looks a little open on these middle arms there, and it's not necessarily inaccurate, but it just looks like a good place to put a connection on for something, and it really makes me think that someday they might be planning for a drop ship, you know, one of those like lat ships that comes down and grabs it on the side and flies it off to the battlefield. That would be a really cool ship. It would have to be very large to carry this, and it would probably be a vault thing. I could see it easily being over $100, and honestly, it'd be worth it. It'd also be nice if it came with 2 clone pilots. It would be the first gunship to come with enough pilots to fill both pilot seats if it did so. We're going to keep coming back on that. Did y'all see my Topical Tuesday yesterday? I made a point on that. Spinning it around some more. I just want to show off all this beautiful deco. Nice gunmetal on the rear ball joints, or on the rear ball turrets, which are ball jointed. They can angle all over the place. And actually, coming back around to the front, there are the 4 blaster turrets, and they can all ball joint around as well. Now, if you look here where this Republic cog is, if you lift up on that panel right underneath and then pull away, you can actually take off that piece of armor siding and see some nicely painted seats in there. You have one with a control yoke, evidently for these front blasters, and then 2, probably just for passengers at that point. So that is 3 empty seats there. And then coming around over here, this side opens up exactly the same. It's just an inverted selection over here of what was back there. And then around back, takes a little prying, but the entire back canopy can be removed, lifted away, and there are 2 more seats for these rear ball turrets. Meaning there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 empty seats in this thing. Are you kidding me? 9 empty seats at $80. You're going to give me 3 clones and leave my vehicle that unfilled? I get a lot of these seats aren't seen, but I filled the speeder, and now I don't even have enough guys to put in the visible turret up in the front. What's going on there? Credit is owed to the Wolfpack ATTE. It is beautifully painted. I mean, underneath of this cover, you've got silver punch-ins on these exposed mechanical bits, you know, things that you'll never, ever really see. And I do like the yellow painting on the dropout floor, because, yes, that is a dropout floor. That's actually a really cool function. You push down on the floor, and it begins to drop, as it does in a couple scenes in the Clone Wars. It's a feature that's, like, always there, but not shown too much. Drops almost all the way to the ground. You change the posing of the legs, you can get it a little closer, but it's pretty close. Troops could potentially get in that way, but it does feature 2 posts in there that are the correct size for the micro vehicles. So you can peg the bark speeder there like so. It's a little fiddly, remember, big grown-up hands and little ship, but we'll push that back up like so. Get it popped in. And now that bark speeder does have potentially permanent storage. Is probably where I am just gonna ultimately leave it. So we'll take Wolf and, or not Wolf, Plo and the Wolfpack Trooper out. So I guess now I do finally have a guy to put in the turret up front, and maybe Plo Koon can just chill back here in one of these turrets, use it as a command center or whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this thing just has way too few figures for me. That's really my one large gripe with this really small vehicle. For $80, it's a lot of money for something this size. When you're going to double the price of a vehicle that's been on shelf before, something that's a repaint. And I don't knock repaints. I mean, if you've been around the channel a bit, I love repaints. You know, the Republic gunships that were the Target exclusives that came with extra clones, like, those were really, really cool. They were all repaints. I bought every single one of them. I'm mostly a Black Series guy. Repaint a clone trooper any color you want. I'll buy it again and again and again. You know, I mean, I do like my repaints, but ultimately, I want you to fill the seats. If I wanted to get taken for a ride on how many figures come in a ship, I would collect Lego. It's why I don't. You know, Lego would give you no pilots for a vehicle that has 2 pilot seats and just tell you to put the normal clones in there. That's why I don't like them. And here I am, and I have a vehicle from Season 3 of the Clone Wars with Phase 2 clones that just don't exist at that point in the timeline yet, even though the vehicle in the episode is shown to have a gunner in the top seat with Wolfpack deco and Wolfpack decoed pilots driving it. So, why don't you just give me what it actually has in the show? I'd almost prefer it not have the painted control buttons and just come with a dozen troopers. Fill the entire thing. I want not one empty seat. And honestly, where's Commander Wolf? We should have gotten a Commander Wolf in this. At least match it up to 5 figures like the standard release got. You're supposed to be premium. You're paying extra. You're paying double. This needs to be better. And it looks great. It does. The mass of the item is objectively better. I'm not arguing it. But it's the little things that really set it off, So let's run through some articulation. I've kind of talked about it as we've gone through it, but this thing does have some fun posability, and it's something that you might be familiar with if you have the other one. But something that I really like is this kind of coppery colored section in the middle is a rubber sleeve that covers some fun articulation. The back of the ship actually can hinge up and down. The front can hinge side to side, and that allows you to do some really fun, wide, dynamic range. Allows you to get it into some interesting poses. A lot of the time, I personally will just have it standing there ready to start walking, but still, it's neat. All the legs feature 2 points of articulation. The front one's hinging at this point, allowing the arm to go down or up, and then they all pivot at the bottom ankle. And so on this arm, you can see the silver of the pin in there. This one can go in and out. It's a little bit wobbly on there, but it's not loose. And then you can pivot the ankle there. And then this one pivots at the highest point up in there. Nice and clicky, ratcheting. It will stay where you put it. And once more, pivoting at the ankle. So, getting everything just kind of relaxed back again. Just want to get it where it looks a little more natural. Oop. Just want to stand it up and take a look at it. It's cool. I do really like it. I believe it's still available. I don't know if I can say that it's a good value, but it's limited. So, how can you pass on it, To do some comparisons, I want to keep it Republic era, but I don't have a ton of Republic vehicles. I actually have all the gunships, but they're all hung up on fishing line on my bedroom ceiling, so I'm just not cutting one down for this. But here it is next to the standard release. Here it is next to the folded up V19 Torrent, and then I've got a litany of Jedi Starfighters that I want to put next to it. And let's go ahead and jump off the tripod for a second. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overhead shot, just show you how it looks. Of course, all the other vehicles, much cheaper, much smaller, but notice how they give you the figure and the droid. At least it fills both seats in the vehicle. They do a pretty good job there. And yeah, it at least it scales pretty nice next to them. And while it does look better paint-wise, it doesn't look so much better that the other ones don't look good next to it. So that's always a balance, too. You don't want to outdo the entire line on accident. It's bizarre, actually, that I was able to get it on the spinning stand. Of course, the feet are, just barely hanging on. It's just standing on its toes and the middle legs. So I'm trying to make it quick before it gets ideas about walking off on its own. But what do I think about the Wolfpack ATTE? Objectively, I like it. The walker portion of it, I like. I think that it's a well-done walker. But it really did need a couple more figures to justify the price. At $80, it's one of the most expensive single-packed vehicles in the line. And it doesn't have electronics. You've got a lot of vehicles that are cheaper that come with electronics as far as the deluxe ones. They took a $45 ship, almost doubled the price, and then said, well, we're going to put a couple dabs of paint extra on it, and we're going to take away a figure. And I'm struggling to see the value there. If you're going to do the figure thing and you want to make it a little better than the standard one, call it $60 all day long. $80 feels a little bit too high for me. But I have one of 3,000 Wolfpack walkers. I don't believe they're out of stock just yet, but there's 3,000 of them. You know, they're gonna go one way or another. They actually have a really nice deal going on the site, too, at least as of the day I ordered this, where for $100, $20 more, you can get a bundle with the standard one. If you don't have the standard one yet, that's actually not a bad deal. You know, if you want to math it out to $50 each, you know, that feels a little bit better. But I have 2 of the standard ones already, so I just didn't really feel like I needed a third. And it's just what it was. But all in all, what do you think? You know, I think it's cool. I think if you want it, you should get it. But I gotta start complaining about the figures on these things a little bit, because it's really been bugging me. I want that ARC 170 like no one's business, and they shorted it a clone pilot. So no, it just gets to stay on the shelf. I'm not gonna buy it. So if you're looking for a review of that, I'm sorry, you gotta go elsewhere for that one. As cool as it would be, as much as I would love to buy it and review it, I just can't bring myself to do it. So sorry if this was too negative for you. I try not to be a negative Nancy on my reviews. I really don't like being the guy complaining. But I'm just not super satisfied with the value on this one. But it's cool. It's limited. I don't blame you if you go get it. I just kind of feel like I got taken on a walk for this one. Haha, I see I did a pun there. So, still in a good enough mood to joke, so it can't be that bad. Thanks for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. You know the drill. I'm going to go work on something else now, so until next time, may the Force be with each and every single one of you, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.